All right. So welcome everyone. My name is Michael Montana. I'm Senior Director of Admissions at Wilson College, and I want to, say thank you for attending our second virtual event of our huge slate over the next couple of months. I see some of the same names that I saw yesterday, so thank you for joining us again. I apologize, you're going to hear some of at least the same stuff that I said yesterday, but I just want to again thank you for participating in this during this trying time. It's a little bit hard for us to figure out how does college admissions work when all of the things that we normally do this time of year aren't possible. We usually invite you to campus. We, get you connected with our community, and we've been trying to figure out, okay, if we can't bring you, to our community, how do we bring our community to you? So like I said, every day for the next couple of months, we're actually going to have a couple of sessions on a weekly basis covering topics about students, financial aid, athletics, academics, anything you could possibly want to know about Wilson. There is going to be something there because we want you to get to know our students, our faculty, our staff, and really understand what makes Wilson so special. And in terms of how we're going to run this session before I jump over to our presenters, at this point, there's no video or audio for anybody who's attending the session, and we do that because we are recording, so we only want the presenters on the screen. But we will have a Q&A portion after the presentations are over. So if you use the Zoom chat function, you can actually send those questions directly to me, and I will get them over to our presenters. But without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Heather Ellerbrock, who's our Director of OneStop Student Services, and Chris Knaus, our Assistant Director of Financial Aid. And Heather, I will let you take it away.
All right, thank you, Michael. So if you can give me just one moment to share my screen with you. All right, so hopefully everyone can see that. Again, my name is Heather Ellerbrock. I serve as the director of the OneStop Student Services Center on campus. The OneStop Student Services Center is located in Lenfest Commons. So for those of you who have had the opportunity to visit campus previously, we are located right near the dining hall, and our financial aid office is located within the OneStop as well. Basically, the OneStop was designed to offer personalized care for our students so that we can simplify student business-related concerns so that students can focus on being students and enjoying the college experience. So every student that attends Wilson is assigned to a student services counselor, and that counselor can assist them personally with a number of business-related items. So we do provide assistance with financial aid and scholarships. So whether that's filing the FAFSA, addressing questions about loans, helping students identify scholarships that may be a good fit for them, and then helping them with the application process, we are happy to do all of those things. We are still assisting students with that currently, even though it's from a remote standpoint. We also help students with billing and student account related questions, and I'll touch on some of those points in a few moments as well. We will help students with basic portal access as well as some of the other technologies that are used on campus. We are not IT experts, but we can certainly help with basic navigation. We will help students with registration-related questions. We do not currently serve as academic advisors to our students. However, we do have some limited capabilities in assisting them through the actual registration process once they've met with their advisors and so on. Our center also helps students receive that Phoenix ID card when they come to campus. And for commuting students, we offer a commuter meal plan that allows students to eat in the dining hall if they wish. And our office is where they can load that commuter meal plan directly onto their Phoenix ID card. I also serve as the work study coordinator for campus, so any orientations or just general work study questions come through our office as well. So that's sort of an overview of what we assist with. Apart from that, it's just sort of any odds and ends. If students have questions and they are not sure where to go, they come to us, and if we don't know the answer, we at least know where to direct them. So we have 3 staff that are dedicated to OneStop functions specifically. Christy Fries works with any students whose last names fall between A through G and X, Y, or Z. Alex Combs helps those students whose last names fall between H and P, and I assist anyone whose last names fall between Q and W. We have our office hours noted there. These are typically during academic terms. So for Monday through Thursday, we're open 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Fridays. Our hours do differ slightly during non-academic terms, so over winter break and summer, but we're still working and available. So I kind of want to just touch on a few areas where we tend to receive questions, especially from parents of students. And the very first thing that I will mention is, as a parent of a student, you may have a lot of questions regarding your student's financial aid, their account, their bill, any number of things. Within higher education, we as college staff can only discuss with you, the parent, information if your student has given us permission to do so. And this is because of a federal law known as FERPA. So you may have heard of HIPAA in healthcare. We have the equivalent, which is FERPA. So basically students have to designate that permission in order for any of our staff to be able to disclose information to a parent or guardian. The way that students can do this is by completing what we call our proxy access form. So this is available to students who have already received their self-service login credentials, and I have a screenshot included here that basically just shows what this screen looks like. So once a student logs into this screen within the self-service, they should see their parents' names listed there, and then they can click on each individual parent and designate permissions by parent. And keep in mind that students have the ability to say, yes, I want mom to be able to see my bill. No, I don't want mom to be able to see my grades. They have the ability to customize your permissions. They can also update those permissions at any point in time. So just because you had permissions to see a bill 2 weeks ago does not mean that that permission is etched in stone. So we will look at this information whenever we receive calls or questions from parents or guardians to determine whether we have the student's consent to discuss that information. The other thing that's nice about proxy is once a student has designated proxy access for a parent or legal guardian, that actually gives that parent or legal guardian their own username that they can then log into the student's self-service, and they will be able to actually see whatever fields the student has designated. So if your student has said, yes, I want mom to be able to see my bill, you as the mom would then have your own username and password that you can log in at your convenience to view that information. So it is nice to be able to do that and not rely upon waiting for your student to share information with you. Another thing that I'll just briefly mention is our financial consent form. This is a form that every student on our campus is required to complete. It's required by our business office, and it essentially outlines payment expectations, our methods of communication with students, our policies related to student accounts, and so on. I believe that this form was included in some files that were shared with you as a participant today. So certainly feel free to look that over. If you have questions, of course, I'm happy to address those. But like I said, this would be required prior to beginning in the fall semester. Bills are always a point of question for families and students. One thing I want to mention up front is that we do not mail invoices to students. Everything is accessible electronically through the self-service, and I'll walk you through that briefly in just a moment. But please do know that with these dates that I have listed here, those are the dates at which point you will be able to access the bill electronically. So please do not expect to see a bill mailed to you on or around these dates. So for the fall 2020 semester, bills will be available the week of July 1st. And payment for that fall semester will be due by July 30th. Now, when I say payment is due, I mean that either you have sufficient financial aid in place, you have a combination of financial aid and payment arrangements, or you've paid outright. Whatever your circumstances are, and again, we are happy to assist you in determining the best financing options for you, it would need to be in place by July 30th. For J-term and spring 2021, those bills will publish the week of December 1st. J-term bills will be due by December 15th, and spring bills would be due January 1st. And then looking way ahead to summer 2021, bills will begin publishing on April 1st and due then a month later on May 1st. So if your student would consider taking summer courses, that's sort of the timeline that we work with for summer billing. Just to briefly touch on some of our accepted payment methods, I mentioned financial aid, and you'll be hearing from Chris Knaus in much greater detail as to financial aid specifically. We will, of course, accept cash payments in person in the OneStop Student Services Center. Also checks, you are welcome to mail those checks to us as well. We have the option to receive e-check and credit or debit card payments. Students can make these payments directly through their self-service or through our website. I do always caution people that there are processing fees with any form of electronic payment. It's going to be $1.75 for an e-check payment or 2.5% if you're using a debit or credit card to submit a payment. We also offer payment plans, which consist of monthly installments, and I believe that the payment plan brochure should also have been included in the materials that you had access to as part of today's presentation. We have Western Union payment options as well. This is primarily used by our international students, but certainly available. So just to give you kind of a quick view of what you are looking at, this is the My Wilson portal. Whenever a student logs into My Wilson, they'll see their notices and announcements. They will have access to groups that are specific to them. Along the left-hand side are menu icons, and so to access a lot of the information that we're talking about today, your student would select that self-service option. And when they've done so, it's going to open the self-service home landing menu, which looks like this. So if your student or if you are attempting to locate an account invoice, you would select that student finance option, and here you'll be able to see term detailed bills, you can make payments, and so on. So just to give you a more detailed view, if you were looking at a term bill, by selecting the account activity view, and this is within that student finance menu option, you can see the term specific information. So I'm not sure if you can see my cursor or not, but right here we've got this term drop down box. So if a student has been here for multiple terms, they'll be able to select that drop down arrow and see all of their historical invoice records. Over on the right, there is an option to view the statement. If you click that, it's going to open it as a print-friendly view, or you can save it there as a PDF if you prefer to save things electronically. There's a basic summary that's provided at the top, and then if you want to see every level of detail, you can do this expand all. It will show you all of the charges that are on the account, any payments that we have already applied that you've sent, as well as the financial aid. One other thing I did just want to mention is textbook purchasing options. We will certainly help students navigate this process, but it doesn't necessarily fall within our purview. However, we receive a lot of questions about it, so I thought I'd mention it. We partner with eCampus, which is a virtual bookstore option, and I have included our specific link with eCampus. So as of July 6th is when the virtual bookstore will go live or be published for fall 2020. So whenever a new student receives their fall course schedule, that is the point at which they can go in through this link and see what textbooks or supplies are required for the courses that they are taking. August 3rd is the last day to order books through eCampus for guaranteed delivery by the start of the fall term. And you can elect to have those books delivered either directly to campus or to your home address. You are not required to use eCampus to purchase textbooks or supplies. You will have to visit the site to at least see what books and supplies are required for your courses. But if you then want to use that information, that ISBN book number, and purchase through another vendor, you may certainly do so. The benefits of using eCampus are that because we are in partnership with them, we do have a staff person who is dedicated to student textbook customer service. So they can sort of act as that liaison with eCampus to navigate questions that you may have or reach out to their customer support on your behalf to figure out order questions and so on. The other benefit is if you choose to use eCampus and you're purchasing your books there, at the point of checkout, you have the option to elect to charge your books and your purchases directly to your Wilson College student account. So if you do that, those charges would then appear on your existing fall bill. And the nice thing with that is if you have excess financial aid that you want to use towards book purchases, it would automatically be there already on your account to be considered with that financial aid. Or if you have a payment plan, for example, the payment plans could be increased to cover these textbook purchases and so on. So there are some nice benefits to using eCampus, but certainly know that you're not required to do so. That is all that I have for you presently. So I'm going to turn it over to Chris Knaus so that she can share about financial aid. And then if you have any questions for me, certainly go ahead and submit them and we'll address them all at the end.
Okay, thanks, Heather. I'm going to take a minute here to bring up my screen. And let's see, here we are. Okay. Okay, there we go. A little technologically challenged here this afternoon. Just to follow up a little bit with what Heather said in her presentation, we do also follow the FERPA rules, and if you've been in communication with the financial aid office, we may have already asked you to email us and give us permission to speak with a parent. Once you've been able to do the proxy, we will be able to look that information up and see what permissions you have given in order for us to be able to speak to a parent or parents who might call and ask questions. So with that, I will get started. Our financial aid staff consists of our Dean of Financial Aid, Linda Britton, our financial aid counselor, Derek Williams, and myself. Over the last couple of days, Derek and I have been emailing all students who are in an accepted status and inviting them to contact us if they have any questions about their financial aid. So I did mine on Friday, and if you fall between A and L in the alphabet, you probably got an email from me. So if you have particular questions about your financial aid, personal questions, I would ask that you, instead of using the chat today, that you send that email back to either Derek or I and pose your personal questions so that we can address you privately. Our contact information is there as well. Our email address is finaid@wilson.edu. And our office hours mirror those of the Student Services Center. So there is a financial aid person on staff Monday through Thursday from 8 to 6. And then on Fridays, we do close at 4, same as the Student Services staff does. So some of the services that we have to offer, I mean, we've been working with you now for a couple of months, couple of weeks, depending on when you applied for financial aid. But some of the things that we are able to help with are applying yearly for financial aid. We complete forms for you that might need to go to outside organizations so that you can get your funding benefits. I am the VA certifying official here on campus. So if you are working with the VA and you have your own education benefits or someone has designated benefits to you, I am the person that you would work with for that. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. We also work to make sure that our students are progressing satisfactorily through their academics to make sure that they continue to be eligible for financial aid. And then my last topic is just changes, because in this ever-changing world, we know that they abound. So each year you'll be applying for financial aid on or after October 1st. You will get reminded through a portal message that financial aid application process is now open, and you are able to begin that process. For our returning students, which for 2021-22 you will be, we do make sure that you have done your application in as timely a manner as possible, because it's basically first come, first served for returning student financial aid. So the earlier you apply, the earlier we can start looking at your record, and also with the funding that we do have, we are able to look at your application and do the best that we can for you. Same as this year, we will contact you if we need additional documents, and those documents would be returned to the financial aid office. We will, again, prepare a financial aid award letter for you for next year when you're a returning student. If you've applied and been accepted and you haven't received a financial aid award letter yet, it could be that we're missing some documents that we need in order to be able to prepare that for you. So again, contacting our office to find out what's missing would be something that you could do to help that move along. And as I said, for 21-22, you will be a returning student. And I just need you to be aware that we have to test satisfactory academic progress at the end of your spring semester, so spring 21, before we can actually put your financial aid package together for the 21-22 academic year. Some students will be working with outside agencies that will need confirmation that you're a student. They'll need information about your costs and your enrollment. So if you are being funded with by an outside organization and you have forms that you need to have completed, you can send them to the finade@wilson.edu address, and we'll be happy to get those forms filled out for you and get them sent back to the organization. We'll actually send them back to the organization on your behalf so that your funding can get processed. As I mentioned, I'm the VA certifying official for the students at Wilson College. If you have veterans education benefits, you will receive an award letter from the VA that tells you what program you are receiving the benefits from and the length of time that you have to use them. So you would want to send that letter, a copy of that letter, to me at the finade@wilson.edu web address. And then each semester, I'm also going to ask you to complete an enrollment certification form so that your enrollment can be certified. We don't want to certify benefits for a student who might be trying to maybe save some benefits, stretch them out. Some students will use them in fall and spring. They won't use them in summer terms if they take classes. So every semester that you want your benefits certified to the VA, I'll need to have that form from you. So there's a little bit of difference between the programs. If you are Chapter 33 eligible, and this would be whether you could be the veteran or you could have someone who has designated benefits to you. If you are receiving Chapter 33 benefits, when we get that set up, that's going to appear as a resource on your bill. So where Heather showed you how to look at your bill, you would actually see a resource on your semester billing, because the VA is going to send that payment directly to us. So we're going to consider that as a prepayment or a payment arrangement, if you will, for that semester's bill. If you're working with Chapter 35, 1606, or 1607 benefits, those funds are paid directly to you. So you would not see that as a resource on your bill. And in fact, you would need to use those payments to schedule a payment plan or to pay upfront for your semester bill, since those funds are given to you. Looking at satisfactory academic progress, this is something that we do each semester. And satisfactory academic progress is different for all of the funds that we have. So merit scholarships, if you have a merit scholarship letter from when you were admitted, it tells you specifically the GPA that you have to maintain. in order to continue receiving your merit scholarship. If you are awarded a current honor scholarship, they will also have a minimum GPA requirement that you need to maintain in order to continue receiving that scholarship. And then federal financial aid, state financial aid, and then institutional financial aid all have different testing criteria. So there's a lot of things that we have to look at to determine whether or not you can continue to receive funding. So we do test at the end of fall. We test at the end of spring. Most times at the end of fall, if things aren't going well for you and you're not meeting your requirements, we'll let you know that you have one more grace semester of assistance, and then the next semester will determine whether you continue receiving financial aid or if your aid would be lost because of not meeting the progress. And spring semester is when we determine whether your merit scholarship is going to go forward, your honor scholarship will go forward, federal aid, and then also state aid too will be determined at the end of the spring semester. So if these are the satisfactory progress requirements that we have, there are two criteria that you need to meet each semester. So we have quantitative and qualitative. The quantitative, you must complete 75% of all the courses that you're attempting. The thing to keep in mind is that every course that you attempt, regardless of whether you complete it or not, is counted in this calculation that we use. So it's important to maintain that 75% completion rate. Qualitative, you can see below the chart, based on the number of credits that you've attempted, the GPA, the minimum GPA that you need in order to be considered making progress. So if you miss one of the requirements, again, you get a grace semester of financial aid. If you miss both of the requirements, then you would lose your financial aid eligibility, but you always have the right to submit an appeal, because we know that sometimes things happen, things don't go well. Maybe you have an illness in your family or yourself, and things just don't go well. So there is an appeal process. It goes to a committee. The committee decides whether they can extend additional aid to you and under what qualifications or things they would need for you to complete during the semester in order for that aid to be reinstated for good. So changes. These are some of the changes that students can experience while they're enrolled in school. And we want to be sensitive to those changes. And so we invite for you to share information when you have a change in your family situation, through the death of a parent or your spouse if you're married, if your parents divorce or you divorce, if there's a change in income for your parents or yourself if you're an independent student. If you're changing your enrollment, it's very important to make sure that we're aware of any enrollment changes that you make. So if you drop a class, even if you add a class, it's important to let us know that there's been a change so that we can reevaluate your financial aid and make sure that it's based on the correct enrollment status, because you don't want to get to the end of the semester and we found out, oh, there's been a change and now that's changing your financial aid because we didn't learn about it right away. And then changes in housing status. Some students will come on campus for their first year, second year, third year, they decide, hey, I want to live off campus. And so there's a process where you would talk to financial aid about what it means to you financially if you're living off campus. So these are just some things that we want to make sure that you know that we can help you determine how financial aid is going to be affected if there's changes in your family situation. So financial aid on the student portal. We've sent you letters about missing documents. We've sent paper financial aid award letters. We've sent information on how to apply for loans. But all of this too is on the portal. You can also find information about student loans that you've borrowed to date. So piggybacking on where Heather was earlier, you're going to click on that self-service link, and then you're going to click on financial aid once you get into the menu portion. So this is what the page looks like. There's a place where you can send us an email if you just click on that link at the top right of the page. You can actually pop over into your billing by going to account summary. Down at the bottom on the left-hand side, we have statuses. So if you've applied for financial aid and everything is good, we have that complete a financial aid application with a good check mark. If you've given us the documents that we've asked you for, again, once those are completed and we log them in, you get a check mark showing that those are completed. So once we have everything that we need, you go through a review process. And so things will stay in that review status until we're able to do the financial aid award letter for you and get that sent to you. Some of you already have that information. And then once you have your award letter, you're able to review and accept your financial aid, and we get that information back through electronic means. On the right-hand side, there's some links for applying for financial aid. If you lost the letter from your award package that tells you how to apply for a student loan, those links are right there with the entrance counseling and the master promissory note. And there's also a link that a parent can go to apply for a parent loan. Also, when you go on the portal, you'll notice on the left-hand side, there's kind of a big black box with some different things that you can click on. And so if you click on the financial aid counseling option, you get the right-hand screen then, and that's where you can actually get a physical copy of your financial aid award letter. You won't be able to see your award letter if we don't have all of the documents that we need. So we may have sent a financial aid award letter to you, but if you owe us documents for verification, until we have those documents in-house and have completed verification, you won't be able to see your financial aid award letter. And you can toggle up and down through all of these items here to see what's behind those boxes. So that's really what I have for you. Again, I will just ask that if you have questions of a personal nature, that you respond to the emails that were sent to you by either Derek Williams or myself. And but now we can go back, and Michael and Heather can come in and you can ask any questions that you have. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Okay, stop share. Sorry, I talked to myself.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you, Heather and Chris. I know we do have some questions waiting, so I just want to remind everybody, if you have questions, please send them to me via chat, and I will make sure that they get done here. But I figure we'll lead off with the first question, which is, how do TAP 529 plans work for payment?
Chris, you want to take that?
Sure. We will add the TAP 529 information to your financial aid award list. So if you have, when you have requested those documents, or requested those funds, if you could email that information to me to tell me how much we're expecting to receive, we can add that to your financial aid award, and then that will show on your bill as a preliminary resource. So that would serve to reduce the balance that's owed on your student account.
All right, thank you. This next question, this is something about Curran Bonner. You know, if that's something that somebody could possibly explain quickly, and then also what the timeline is on that, and have they been announced for fall 20 yet?
Okay, the Curran Bonner is a program for incoming students. We select 5 students who have demonstrated significant leadership in their high school years. We're also looking for academics. That competition is closed for the 2021 academic year, and we have not yet announced the recipients for that scholarship.
All right, thank you. Do you have a timeline on when those might be announced?
I do not.
Okay.
I can check today, and maybe we can put that out for the next time.
All right, fantastic. Next one, and I apologize, we keep going to Chris, but I realize with financial aid, I assume you're
That's okay.
for this. No, just in terms of, after a student has been, like, what's the general appeal process timeline, I guess? And I think that's something that a lot of people are curious about now with the given situation. There may be more changes in income, with what's going on right now. And so the question is basically, if there is that change and we do reach out, what is the sort of expectation of what we need to submit and how long would that take?
Well, we have a couple of different ways of looking at what's happening financially with a family. So the first step would be to send me an email and let me know what your situation is, because that's going to help me determine what additional information I need to ask you to send to me. So we look at things like, is there a reduction in income? Is there a death? Is there a divorce? Is there a loss of some type of income? Some families receive child support, and when the child turns 18, there's no more child support. So that's a loss of income, not necessarily from working. So you could have high medical expenses. So there's a lot of different things that we can look at. So it's best to start off with sending an email to the finaid@wilson.edu mailbox. We'll review that and get back to you and let you know what additional information that we need. Once you send that back to us, we're trying to work very hard on a no more than 2 week turnaround. So till I get the documents, I review them, I send them to committee, I get responses from the committee, and get back to you. It really shouldn't be any longer than 2 weeks.
All right, thank you. Okay, actually the next one, and this one is actually, I guess I'll take this because it's about merit scholarships. Merit scholarships, because I realize we do have people on the call today who maybe have not been able to get accepted yet. And that's something that we realize for fall 20, of course. We're working with schools. We're having our admissions counselors reach out to guidance counselors because we understand that at this point, it may not be as possible to get transcripts and everything sent to us as quickly as it used to be. So we are still, of course, working with everybody for fall 20. We are rolling admissions. So of course, if you have any questions, talk to your admissions counselor. You can find those on the website, or if you log into your Slate student portal. But the merit scholarships are actually, of course, given out at the time of acceptance. So when you are accepted to Wilson, you're going to get your acceptance letter, which you'll also at this point log into the portal to see. And that will actually contain a paragraph about what merit award that you have been offered. They range up to, $12,000. And that's based on your weighted GPA, either coming out of high school or college, depending on if you're a first time in college or a transfer student. And those are given out by admissions based on set criteria. So if you do have questions about those, you can talk to your admissions counselor about it. But yeah, those are given out before any of the actual aid process would even start, though they would be reflected on your aid package, as Chris said in the presentation. But yes, as soon as you would get accepted, that would actually be on your letter. So at this point, looks like we're actually just about out of time. So I'll leave this open if there's any other questions that we get to. I do know we have, unfortunately, a few that, as Heather said, are not necessarily for the group at large. So we will follow up with everybody individually with those questions. Because again, there's a lot that goes behind the financial side of college. And the answer is, this is what Heather is here for. This is what Chris is here for, to answer any questions that you have. So if there's anything that comes up after today, certainly feel free to reach out to your admissions counselor or anybody, that you saw today, and we'll be happy to help you figure this all out. But before I wrap up, I didn't know, Chris or Heather, is there anything else that you needed to cover today?
Just that we're looking forward to see you come to Wilson in the fall.
Yes.
That's right. Yep. Thank you for your time. And please do know that all of our staff are working remotely. So we're doing our very best to keep up with requests and questions as quickly as we can. And we are still here for you.
All right. Thank you very much. And yeah, I would echo that. Thank you guys for attending. And, just as Chris said, the hope is, classes resume on campus in the fall. And I will say I'm looking forward to moving day maybe more than any other one I've done in 12 years of admissions at this point. Just bringing everybody back to campus, I think is going to be a huge thing. So trust me, we are also looking forward to that. But I thank you for your time. Again, if you have any questions, we are absolutely here. Hope that you and your family are healthy and safe in this time. And if you have anything else, please follow up. And I hope to see some of you, of course, in some of our sessions later this week. All right. Have a wonderful day.